folks. This is going to be a very basic, ultra basic beginner lesson, and we're going to go over some nomenclature of the instrument. I've had a request to kind of go over just some real basics, which people take for granted if they've never played. Or I should say, people who play just kind of take this stuff for granted because they're so used to it. So to start off with, so here we have, obviously, this is what's called the peg head, and this is what holds the tuning keys. Okay, you turn these up or down to put tension on the string or release tension on the string, which changes the pitch of the string. Okay, so this is how it's tuned. Something else that we want to look at here is this is what's called the nut. Okay, and it helps us spin the strings up here by the peg head. And then this, I think a lot of people are familiar with this. This is called the bridge, and this is what raises the strings up off the body of the instrument. Okay, now the distance from the bridge to the nut here is what's called scale length. Okay, what that means is the scale of the instrument has a certain distance, and that determines where these frets are placed, okay, in order to get the proper note pitches. It's kind of a design thing, but it's just something that I wanted to mention, because in order to change the notes, which is what we're interested in doing, we're going to be shortening the string. Okay, and how we change the note is we press down on the first fret or the second fret or the third fret, and these are called frets, by the way. These are actually inlaid into the neck. Okay, so the neck and the fretboard are one in this instrument. In other instruments, mostly every other instrument you see that's commercially manufactured has a neck, and then it has a separate fingerboard. There's a separate plate of material in which the frets are inlaid into, but not so here. The neck and the fingerboard are one. Okay, so in order to effectively create notes, we need to shorten the string, and by doing that, we're going to place our finger right behind the fret. Now you could go up here and press it, but because the frets are stretched out here so much, you want to bring your finger down closer to give you a better reach to get to the notes. Okay, so in order to create a note, we are going to shorten the string. So the nut is no longer where the string stops, but it's the first fret and the bridge. So it changes the length of the string, raising the pitch. Okay, just some basics there. Okay, now how do we play this thing, and how do we make a notation to play it? So there's a very old form of musical notation called tablature, and it actually predates staff musical notation. That's where you just see little dots on the staff, and the staff is 5 lines and all that kind of stuff. Well, to kind of get around that and simplify that, I mean, music is wonderful to know, but it takes a little bit longer to absorb that. So if you just want to get playing, tablature is not a bad way to go, because you don't have to memorize note names or any of that kind of stuff. You just memorize positions. Okay, so the strings then are represented physically on a piece of paper, and this is what's called tab for this particular instrument. It has 3 lines, which represents the 3 strings of the instrument. Okay, the very topmost string here, the one that has the 0, the 1, 1, 1, okay, that's the top string on the instrument, is the string that is farthest away from you, or the one closest to the ground when you're holding it. Okay, so the top string on the tablature represents this string here, which is the first string. Okay, then this is second and third, and if you look at that on the tablature, it's represented. So the top line is the first string, there's the middle string, the second, and the third. The third is the thickest and the one that's closest to you as you're holding the instrument. Okay, so go over that again. So the first string is the top line on the tab, then the middle line is the middle string, and then the big bass string, the one that's closer to you, is the bottom string on the tab. Okay, then how we write this out is, so we want to play notes. Okay, well, we're not really playing notes. Well, we are playing notes, but we're gonna play those notes by playing numbers, or by playing positions. And what do you mean by position? Well, if you see all these zeros, okay, that means that we're not going to do anything. we're just going to strum all the strings open. Okay? Then with the next line, or the next part, what this means is that we're going to strum the third and the second string open, but we're going to have our first finger press down on the first fret. Okay? Like so. So the first two parts of this are pretty easy. And we're not doing anything fancy here. We're just strumming, and then we're putting our finger down and strumming. Okay? So that's basically how to read the tab. And this is a very basic song, and you're only changing the notes on the first string. You see how all the zeros on the other strings, you're only playing those open. As the music changes, it gets more sophisticated. You'll see numbers here, not necessarily any zeros around them, which means you'll play those notes individually. Okay? But anyway, this is going to give you a little bit of understanding, hopefully, of how the tab works with this instrument. Okay? And this particular tuning is DAC, which means the lowest string is pitched to D, middle string is A, and the top string is pitched to C, which kind of gives you a minor tuning. And I've done another lesson on this song, but I will go over it a little bit more. On this particular piece of tablature here, the sheet that I made out, you have a little thing called Rhythmic Studies. Okay? And one of the best things you can do for yourself with this is just to sit here and practice what I've gone over. If you look at underneath the Rhythmic Studies, okay, you're not pressing anything. Okay, all you're going to be doing is you're going to be strumming the strings open. And what this is going to do is it's going to train this hand. Okay, and that's really what you need to do. The noting is very simple on this instrument. It's not going to take you that long. But what's going to take you a little while, I think, is to get this hand to get control here, so that you can strum and you can articulate, you know, the rhythmic pattern of the song, or emphasize the melody by bringing your hand down and hitting certain notes. So this is the hand that you want to work on. And so if you look at the Rhythmic Studies, you'll see arrows. Okay? And these arrows indicate whether you should strum down or you should strum up. So the arrows that are pointing down, or up I should say, on this, okay, because this is the thickest string, we're going to be strumming down. We're going to be strumming from the thickest to the thinnest. So it's down, down, then we're going to go up, down, up, down, up. Okay? So let's try that on the instrument. So here we go. We're going to go down, down, up, down, up, down, up. Okay? Let's do it a little faster. And eventually you'll get I did was I'm just playing the first figure in the tab. I'm going from open to hammering on with the first string. Okay? Okay? It sounds complex, but it's really not. But the big work when you're starting out is this right hand. The brains are in the right hand. The brains are in the bow. You know, this is where you are articulating and making a lot of the music. You know, this is important as well. But if you're sitting there late at night or whatever, and you're watching TV or something, you don't have to be, you know, sitting here fully focused. I mean, it's nice, but it's going to take time. And this is a repetitive thing, you know. And the more you can sit here and do this, the quicker you're going to get it. So if you like TV, if you got a favorite show, just sit there and put your hand over the thing and just sit there and just practice. Just practice while you're doing something else. Make it routine. You want to train this hand. You want to commit all this to muscle memory. So this will be automatic, and then you'll have to start thinking about this. Okay. So that's an ultra basic introduction, and if you have any more questions, feel free to email. And happy playing.